Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 134, your first From Software game, with me, George, and as always joined by this week. No, I'm not. Not joined by a week. I'm joined by Bobby. Yarn and blood to my slip and graze my knee and a little bit of blood. How's it going?
I'm good, you?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We're going to leave that in. It's the nerves of being around a From Software guru.
Oh, boy.
One of the reasons why you're back. The second reason is Tom's much advertised on the show paternity leave. I think it's kicked in now. It might be early. Let's have a quick catch up though.
Okay.
First of all, how are you?
Good. I'm all right.
Nice little hiatus. We found out in the lore of the show a couple of weeks ago that you took your podcast money and you did a tour of Africa. You bought loads of malaria nets, loads of anti-malarial tablets. You went and basically spent all that money on that. In stark contrast to Tom, who's basically spent all of his money on himself, you know, the indulgences, the cars, the women, the lifestyle, probably a pool full of Orbeez and probably a high profile boxing match on YouTube or some drivel like that. So now that you're back, I need to ask you, what you've been playing?
Oh my God. Diablo 2. Resurrected.
Bit more of that.
I think, I don't know, well, like the 250-hour mark, maybe. Me, my stepfather Danny, my boy Marlon. You have to beat the game on each difficulty. So you have to beat the game 3 times with one character for a trophy. We are at level 90 with our main characters, and we beat the game 3 times already. So we're on our 4th character. There's 3 more to go.
Oh, my.
And then all we really have to do is get to level 99 with our main character. And level 1 to 98 takes the same amount of time as level 98 to 99. So that could take another, few months. And if you die, you lose experience.
Oh, no.
So you could lose 2 weeks of experience, depending on how much, how often you play, really. The hardest part is playing on hardcore, because if you die, that's it. That's a wrap. You're dead. You start over. My cousin died level 72. His whole character is gone.
No.
Yeah, done. Dead. Start over.
No, that's just not okay.
It's a disaster. It's really a disaster. But we're going to do it. We're going to try to do it. If I get this platinum, I'm retiring from platinums.
Promise me that?
No. But it's going to be definitely the hardest one for sure.
Okay, well, I can't.
Definitely. And I'm playing Dark Death's Door. I just beat it.
You've beaten it? Platinum did, or is that?
No, with the umbrella. I beat everything. All I got to do is get some collectibles. So I'm getting them now, but it's annoying because there's no map and there's no way of knowing what you need. It's just if when the game's at nighttime, the doors will be red, and you're missing something in there. Doesn't tell you what you're missing.
Oh,
so you're just trying to figure out what you're missing.
Is it like collectibles?
You need to plant 50 seeds, so you have to collect the seeds and then grow them. So I know I'm missing 2 seeds because I saw 2 pots. Where are these seeds? Who knows? Because the problem is if you carry seeds on you and you play the game, I'll put a seed here, I'll put a seed there. So basically each level has the same amount of seeds as pots. But good luck knowing what seeds you collected. I wish it was not annoying, but it's annoying. The game is great though.
The game is open enough though once you've sort of finished it where you can go back through and just go in every area. Enemies still there, baddies as we call them.
Enemies still there, but you're so strong by then. It's very Dark Souls like.
Yeah.
Roll, hit, Not bad. That's all I've been playing. I mean, I did so much before, but that's the most current.
Okay.
But what have you been playing?
Well, as this show is based around my first From Software game, My first real dabble, I would say. We'll get to that in the feature.
Really?
I've had a dabble on the PS3 on Demon Souls and other bits and bobs, but I never really felt like I had the time in the rotation to learn this stuff. And this time around, I've had the time to go. And as I say in the feature, a few strands have led me to the point where I think, yeah, I'll have this. I'll have a go at this. I'll do this. I'll dedicate the time. But I've been playing off the back of finishing Jedi Fallen Order, which is one of the strands that brought me here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been pining for a Star Wars experience. So I thought, I know what I'll do.
That was an awesome game.
Jedi Fallen Order.
I loved it.
The story, absolutely everything. And
that's me, basically. That's me in the game. It looks just like me.
It does. It
100%.
genuine. I always thought of you when I was playing it.
How many redheads are in gaming?
Him.
A few. Aloy.
Oh, of course.
John Connor from the NES Terminator. That was Journey to... they changed the name of it because licensing issues. You got this guy. What's his name again?
Cal Kestis.
Yeah, Cal Cap. He's redheaded. Rambo was redheaded in the NES. For some reason.
That's a palette limitation.
Yeah,
take it.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
So I then thought, oh no, I'll dust off the beautiful PS3. I'll put in Star Wars Force Unleashed 2. Well,
listen, that was underrated. My brother loved that game.
It might be underrated, but let me tell you, straight after Fallen Order, which feels like a very more realistic, not realistic because it's dudes with laser swords, but it felt like you were in the films a bit more. Everything was very pared down. The first thing you're doing in Force Unleashed 2 is jumping out of a window, force blasting platforms out the way, landing on the ground about 3 miles down. I got fairly far into it last night, and then I just hit a bit of a wall where I was like, this isn't as good. I'm not going to say it's garbage, but it's certainly very lightweight compared, especially now. You just mulch through the troopers, you mulch through this, your powers are just off the scale.
What is called the Force Unleashed?
Say again?
It is called the Force Unleashed.
It is called the Force Unleashed.
They want you to be super overpowered.
Well, that's true.
So for some reason, when you fight a boss, you're, underpowered.
Well, you say that. I fought this guy with he was massive, absolutely massive, called the Gorgon or something like that. And it was a very God of War type battle, but nowhere near as good. You were very planted to a scenario. It was repeat the same thing over again. And then you had to sort of saber his wounded bandage, which was a big thick metal plate off his head, and then jab his saber into his skull. It's okay. But I think I might be leaving that there. Unlike you, I'm not compelled to platinum it once it's gone in the tray. It was like, do you know what? I think maybe on a rainy day, I might revisit that. And then
you beat the game?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, you're just going to be done.
I think I'm just going to leave it. It was that disappointing. But talking of other things, obviously the unofficial controller Discord has got a play along, monthly play along. One of them was Bully. Canis Canem Edit is known here in the UK. And I thought, I'm going to dust off the PS2. Got it all connected up with the component leads into the surround sound, set it to Dolby Pro Logic 2, so it worked. So it was like the best 2006 experience you can imagine. And I started playing it late last night, and I've not been able to put it down. I'm about a quarter of the way through.
Really?
Yeah, it's Christmas time. And I tell you what, it's a game that feels like you're playing it on a speed run. You're just absolutely hammering X everywhere between lessons and hammering it and then
I never played Bully.
Have you not?
Never.
Let me tell you now.
Isn't that crazy?
You would, if you're only going to explore it because you get a platinum out of it, it's available to download on PS4, I believe, with trophy support. So you should have a look. Again, if I've got that wrong, go look out.
No, I heard it was great. I mean, platinum or not, I always wanted to try it. I just never did it.
Does he have ginger hair?
I think
possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, his buzz cut enough.
Yeah. But running around, hammering X, my fingers sore, hammering square. But I'd say it's quite good because it saddles a line between San Andreas and the first Red Dead, as in, Redemption.
Yeah.
And you can tell that the art style's peaked. It's very end of PS2 era. There was a Wii and 360 port, I think, from memory. And it feels like a game that belongs on a 360 or a PS3. And for that reason, it's a really enjoyable PS2 game. A lot of the things that would normally drag a PS2 game down are gone. Sound design, graphics look great even to this day. Yeah, it's a bit hazy.
Yeah.
But that adds to it. I would hate to see that gone because you're in the halls and you can see like an atmosphere of just dust and haze. And you think, cool. This looks great. It still looks great. Some of it's probably not aged that well. If they re-released it, I'm sure they would get requested to take certain things out.
My brother, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, whatever.
Oh yes,
said it's not that good.
No,
he noticed he noticed some songs are missing.
I think if you've got the original,
that's licensing.
If you've got the original games,
that's all you need.
Unless you want the achievements or the trophies or whatnot, just enjoy them on there. If I'm going to play San Andreas, I always slot it into the
because the PS2, some PS2 games were re-released on PS4 as PS2 games, not like remade.
Yeah,
that's fine. They look fine, but if they're remade, I don't know. They just feel strange.
Yeah,
they look like they put a little polish on it, but then you could tell how aged it looks. I'd rather just play it original without that weird.
Yeah, I think that the original had like we talk San Andreas. It had that sort of heat haze that you expect in LA, and that kind of added to it.
It fit it.
It did. It felt great, and the same applies to sort of GTA 3 and Vice City as well. They had this sort of almost filter on them that made them feel very A, of that era, and B, of that place.
Yeah.
So the re-release, it was mainly done through machine learning, wasn't it? And they did all the things. Obviously, the extra horsepower took all the fog and the atmospherics out. And I would hate to see that done to Bully because he's part of it. You get Halloween in there. I'm going into Christmas. I've been to the carnival on a date.
Really?
Oh, it's really good, Bobby. If you haven't played it, you should look it out.
Check it out.
I can't remember how far I've been into it before. There's things I remember and things that I don't. But like I say, I feel like it's one of the. I feel like I'm speed running it because I'm just like hammering X between classes and hammering X to the next thing. Because I'm just sort of running around. Maybe I should slow down, but the speed between the places just seems to shorten the time between fun. So anyone that's listening now that wants to get along and get involved in the play along, hop on the Discord. I think I'll be finishing that and then I'll be going back to the game we'll talk about in the feature. But anything else you got to update us on, Sir Bobby?
No, not really.
Well,
that's pretty much it.
I would say then it's time for the news. We've scoured the very darkest range of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, I'll take this one because I've yet to come up with a headline. I don't actually know what it is. All things come back when on a Bungie. Sony's acquired legendary developer Bungie, and one of the motivations behind the deal appears to be shared learning. PlayStation Studios wants to make blockbuster service games with similar legs to the likes of Fortnite and, of course, Destiny. And the platform holder believes that the former Halo creator can help it achieve its goals. I spent lots of time with key Bungie employees like Jason Jones and Pete Parsons, and some of the senior team over at Bungie, said PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulse to PlayStation Blog. And let me tell you that everyone's very excited for Bungie and PlayStation Studios to share ideas, share some of our battle scars as well, and really just learn from each other. Hulse explained that launching successful service games is impressively difficult, but Bungie already has expertise in the sector and can help Sony to realize its ambition. Many people have tried to build a successful live service and failed, he pointed out, because it's really hard. So Destiny's success is very special. This week, Bungie announced that over 1 million people had pre-ordered new Destiny expansion, The Witch Queen, perhaps once again pointing to longevity of the product. Sony's yet to actually reveal what its service game strategy will look like, but we're excited to hear your thoughts on Discord or on an email. So, Bobby, last week, the big news, Sony got out the checkbook and they bought Bungie. Seems they want to initially. I wasn't sure what that was all about. Perhaps tactical move to take another name off the table or what, I don't know. But seemingly they want to create live service games. And
PlayStation doesn't have that many, do they?
No.
I mean, whatever Xbox has, pretty much Sony has from third party.
Yeah. But does Sony need? I mean, I guess a service game is a cash cow. You need a new pet. You need a new hat.
Oh,
you
yeah,
need
it
a
is.
new coat. You need a new
Well,
gun
Xbox
skin.
has Halo, right?
Yeah, and Sea of Thieves.
That's all Xbox.
And Grounded, yeah, that's all locked
Nintendo
on
doesn't
there.
have any.
Is Animal Crossing that? Really? Is
No,
it? Is
not
it not?
really. No. And Sony doesn't have it for sure
No.
because they have Fortnite and whatever else. That's on everything.
Well, I think we'll be seeing what? Maybe a Twisted Metal.
Well, I heard about that, but I also heard someone drew a picture for like a PS5 game,
Mhm.
and it's called Helgist, which is
It's an enemy from Resistance.
no,
Killzone.
not Resistance, Killzone. So
yeah.
it's like they said, oh, imagine if Bungie made a Helgist video game where you're maybe now you're the bad guy from their point of view. Look, I mean, he wrote it it's like a meme he wrote. It was on Reddit somewhere.
Yeah,
no, that'd be pretty cool. I can see that being a live service game
where you're the Helghast.
Yeah, or either whatever. Yeah, you can pick whoever you want, go for it in battles.
What do you think your other dream PlayStation live service game would be? Any classics?
Twisted Metal for sure. I would love to see that. That'd be cool because it's like a racing battle.
Is that not something that we've already got in Destruction All Stars, but it's just going to be?
Yeah, but Destruction All Stars, I never played it, and I never heard anybody talk about it. So
no, true.
It's not very good. From what I heard, I can't say for sure. I have no interest in it.
So Twisted Metal done. Is there any franchises you wouldn't want to see as a live service game?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinays, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
I don't know. It all depends on if it's meant to be like that.
What about Last of Us Factions? Can you see that coming as a live service game?
100% because how many you had? Two or three? There's three of them.
What, live service games?
No. Fractions and Last of Us.
Oh, I think that it
was like three, right?
But I think this is the multiplayer element. It could be multiple factions.
Yeah, they could make different things. That'd be interesting. That could work. They could bring back Resistance. That could be interesting.
Well, there were talks.
And maybe not as far as like maybe player versus player. Maybe player versus environment, where a bunch of you need to go, kill AI.
Yeah, I don't think that would be quite cool. Yeah, like a co-op game with in-game purchases clagged on the side.
Like, see, I missed out on this, but my brother used to play the Ghostbusters on PS3.
Yeah,
and I never played with him. I should have did it. So when I did buy the remaster, the online service is removed from the game.
Oh,
so I bought it to play with him, not thinking that they removed it. So they removed it. So that'd be pretty cool. Create your own Ghostbuster.
Well, they could lean into that because
get your own squad. Yeah, say Sony owns
Ghostbusters.
So get your own squad, get your own costume, uniform, make your own little subdivision of the Ghostbusters division, make a team name, and.
Do you think Do you think they might lose focus on their single player games, or do you think they're safe?
Well, that's why I think that's why they help with Bungie. Let Bungie deal with this and only this, and then we have other studios to do other things.
Wow. Because some of that money, I think it was 3.6 billion.
They didn't really buy them. It's like a partnership.
Well, yeah, they bought them, but they're going to spend £1 billion keeping the staff. It was 3.6 billion, but they're going to use 2.6 billion to buy them, and then £1 billion in cash handouts to staff to make sure they stay. The same thing happened to Microsoft when they bought Rare. Mm-hmm. Everybody left, and you end up with just the name and probably the janitor and the receptionist. And
no, that was smart. I think that's why they did it. Maybe let the Destiny crew focus on live service.
Yeah, and
the other studios do what they have to do. Makes sense.
Okay. Well,
I mean, that's what I think anyway.
Well, it depends what they end up doing, isn't it? If they drag every man and his dog into making a live service game and a single player game, then
it's too much.
It's too much.
That's why I'm telling you. I'm pretty sure that makes the most sense for me.
Just because
if
it
I
makes
was to
sense
buy
to
them,
us doesn't mean
see,
it
if I
makes
have people
sense
who
to
make
them.
story games and make good games and they do this and whatever, but I bought a live service company. I don't need you to make a single player game or a co-op game. I need you to make a live service game. That's what I got you for.
I think they're there to help in the back end to make things cool and rewarding and decent to play.
100%.
Next bit of news, Bobby.
We got Platinums on Xbox.
Whoa, what's this?
Platinum Games Xbox exclusive Scalebound might have got axed in the end, but doesn't appear to have done any damage to Japanese studios' relationship with Microsoft. Platinum director Hideki Kanema from Bayonetta 3, Devil May Cry, recently shared a photo of a gift from Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer on behalf of Team Xbox. It's all to celebrate Platinum's opening of a new headquarters. And attached to the tweet was the following message from Hideki. Thanks, Phil. Let's work together again. This isn't the first time Platinum has voiced his interest in teaming up with Phil. Back in 2020, Kanema and the Platinum head Atsushi Iniba, sounds good, said they were still open to a revival of the ambitious action role-playing IP, and even suggested fans send a letter to Phil about it.
Are you a fan of Platinum Games?
I don't know what they made.
Bayonetta?
I never played it. Devil May Cry I played. That was good.
Okay. And I think they made that recent Astral Chain, which intrigued me. I mean, I would like to see that go multi-format. That would be good. If that could be pulled to Xbox, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. It'd be nice to see that off the Switch and in the hands of more people. Not that people who haven't, Switches outsold every single console going. So I don't think you'd be struggling for a platform to play it on. But there you go. Talking of things heading to the Switch, to the Batmobile, Bobby. Rocksteady's Batman Arkham Collection could potentially be released on the Nintendo Switch in the future. A Switch listing on the French retail website WTT currently has a placeholder release date of August the 31st, 2022, with the game priced at €59.99. The same site previously listed The Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt port. The Arkham Collection is made up of Arkham Knight, Arkham City, and Arkham Asylum. The Switch hasn't seen any Arkham Batman games released on it, although Telltale released its episodic Batman series on the platform. Before then, the last game to be released was on Nintendo system was Batman Arkham Origins on the Wii U. Would you like to play Arkham Asylum on the go, Bobby?
Would be cool. My brother has the collection. He said it's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He replayed it again. I saw it's on sale. I think it's on sale now on PSN.
I think it's worth picking up
for like $8.
Yeah, it's worth it for that. It's definitely worth it.
So it'd be cool to have that on the Switch, 100%. I mean, The Witcher looks good on the Switch.
On the screen in handheld.
Yeah, it looks fine. Yeah, it looks good.
Who can tell? And it looks, as you say, it looks wonderful. This, I think, would look just as good. Arkham Origins on the Wii U struggled a little bit because the Wii U was underpowered, really, in the scheme of things. But the Switch could smash it.
And didn't they change it up a little bit too? The game. There was
probably
like little things,
motion, maybe. I don't know. Oh, when you had to get in I think you used the screen for hacking and things. So
okay.
Which if it was just a port, okay. If they ported it and then enhanced it for the Switch, that would be really cool. I don't know if they will, but it will be interesting.
Since we have so many listeners, we have very important listeners to the show. Like we have sometimes Nintendo people to the show.
Yeah.
People who work for Nintendo. So I just want to throw it out there. Mario Strikers. Where we at?
Yeah, what's going on with that?
What are we doing?
I think it's dead.
Just want to throw it out there. I love that game. I saw somebody playing it. I'm like, what is happening? Even if it was a port, I'll take it.
This is the GameCube game.
I just want it. It was a Wii game too.
Oh, was it on the Wii?
Oh, yes, it was. I don't know. I don't know if it was a port from the GameCube game. I had both. I think they were different. I don't remember. It's time for a new Mario Strike. I'm just throwing it out there.
The Wii one was bound to have some sort of waggle nonsense in it, wasn't it? Let's face it.
I think it did, but I think I never played with that. I can't move controllers. I'm horrible.
it sometimes feels just daft. It's just like waggle. A lot of them, apart from Nintendo, very few people actually implemented the Wii controls in a way that made you feel good. The Wii was sold a billion consoles off the back of the bowling with it. But let's face it, that's probably as good as it's going to get. Golf, very similar to bowling, but you're standing to your side. Archery.
Baseball. Listen, if you're smart enough, flick of the wrist. No swing.
That's all it needs.
That's it.
And it's the same with the bowling. I remember when it first came out, people were sort of stood up, getting ready, and then doing all the thing. And you can literally sit on the couch and go.
They just realize if you just hold it a certain angle, flick of the wrist, strike.
All the gamers saying, "Oh, I don't want to play those Wii games; they're far too involved." Don't worry.
I saw a YouTube, like an advertisement. YouTube, I guess your suggestions, and it had like a retro PC. Like a little, I guess, I don't know if it's a Raspberry Pi or something like that. Yeah. Had all the GameCube games on it.
Wow.
Had all the Wii games on it, all the Dreamcast, like nothing old. Had all the PS1 games on it. I don't know how it ran. All the N64, and I mean all. Even like the first thing I did when I saw this, I went to the website. It's only UK only. They don't ship to America.
Really?
But I want to contact the guy. I'll pay for it. All the games, and even had WCW's NWO. That was it. That blew my mind. Right? It had the SmackDown versus or SmackDown, whatever it's called, for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Dreamcast. What's the other one? Damn, I forgot. But they were. That's why I saw Mario Strikers gameplay because he was playing it. Let's get it done.
Okay. You need to send me a link for that. Sounds quite intriguing.
I will. I had a plan in my mind. I was going to share it, but not here. I'll share it after.
Okay. Pop it on the in the Discord or wherever you want to slide 100%.
That. Discord.
I'd imagine that I've fluffed my lines being in the presence of a gaming god like yourself more than once. Last week, though, seemingly no one messaged into community corrections. So what we call here a flawless victory. So maybe next week we'll have another flawless victory.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're not wrong. Just means that you haven't contested our inferior gaming knowledge. Question though, Bobby. Did we miss anything? Do you, dear listener, have an opinion or take on the news we missed? If so, how would the collective masses get in touch with us and let us know that A, I have no idea what I'm talking about. B, I called it Rick Steady. It's actually Rock Steady. Rick Steady's a guy who works in the village. He's got a very steady hand. He does a lot of technical drawing.
Very steady. Okay?
But he doesn't make Batman Arkham Collection.
There's some side tattoo art as well.
How are the collective masses going to let us know?
They can reach us on Instagram or Twitter. They can join the Discord from the links there. Or they could do your favorite thing.
Yes.
And they can email us questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com.
I think that my new thing is actually now the Discord.
Discord's
it's kind of just simmered up a little bit.
It's simmered up.
Yeah. Email feels
some people in there.
Yeah, some new faces. Welcome to the many people. Big boost on the show today. Check the stats before coming on air, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious me, it's been a busy Sunday. So thank you to everyone who's listening and downloaded. We appreciate every single last one of you. I suppose a lot of you are here because you're either From Software veterans, or much like I was a week ago, standing on the precipice of the deepest, darkest gaming hole you could possibly imagine. Yes, From Software games. Now, the one I'm playing is Bloodborne, but they're obviously famous also for Sekiro. They're also famous for Dark Souls, and they're also famous for Demon Souls. Now, these games carry a mystique among gamers to the uninitiated of being terribly difficult games. But I'm going to take you on my journey, where I went from, this is insane, to, hang on a little minute, I think I'm getting the hang of this. Now, one thing I would say that made my journey through Bloodborne, well, let's just talk about the narrative thread that brought me here. Jedi Fallen Order. Some key things unlocked in my brain. The meditation zone, a.k.a. campsites, a.k.a. the little lanterns in Bloodborne. the shortcuts, the unlocking the shortcuts, going through all the enemies, and then coming and opening a shortcut back to the save zone. I was like, yeah, I understand. I understand this. So then, last week, unsure of where to be and what to do, I thought, do you know what? I got it for very cheap ages ago. I'll get Bloodborne down. If you're also a PS5 user or you've been a PS4 user long enough, I think it's been on PSN, so don't feel like you need to spend any money on it because it should be sat there waiting for you. It's part of the PS Plus collection if you've got a PS5, so very easy to get your hands on.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Exactly.
I forgot about the PS Plus collection.
I think everyone does. It's a
It's not
great
really
little,
advertised, is it?
No, it's a great little thank you for buying a PS5, and I think the
It's
game
on the box.
It should go on the box. These games included.
I forgot totally about that.
Well, there's some good ones on there. Some of your favorites, Fallout 4, I think, is one of them as well. Final Fantasy 15. I didn't realize, but Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is one of them. Would you believe?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So let that be a lesson to you. Anyway, so in it went. Now, the first, the game tells you nothing. I believe on purpose. I also believe the first arena is the hardest arena with all the guys that can mob you when you're quite low level. You're not in the game long enough to work out what's gone wrong. So first of all, I started to piece together a little run. So I would go to the second lantern, not the one in the sick house, but the second lantern. And I would go, before I open the left-hand passage, I would go left. Guy comes out the boxes, slap, slap, dead. Round the corners, sitting down guy, slap, slap, dead. Guy with a shield, slap, 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 stumble, slap, dead. Okay. Slowly gaining small
Those are the
amounts.
feel-good enemies.
They're the feel-good enemies.
That's what we call them.
Is that right? Is that what the veterans call them? Because you're here because you're a veteran who's going to give you you're going to give us your take on these games shortly. But here's mine. So when I first started the game, this is one of the things I found most obtuse. You go up to the wolf, barehanded. I'm sure you can probably just ring him with one hand shot, but I got owned. It's part of the game's tutorial. You need to die to go back to the Hunter's Dream, as it's called in this one, to learn how the game works. Dying is something that we're taught in video games is bad, but in this game specifically, it's not the end of the world. No. It's okay.
It's part of the journey.
It's part of the journey, Bobby. Perfect. So then it was like, pick a weapon, pick this, pick that, went back in the game, went up to the wolf, started slapping it with my hands again. I'm like, what the hell? What am I doing wrong? I've selected weapon, killed me. Back, looked at my inventory, both weapons selected. What am I doing wrong? Took me a little while, because up until a point that I'm going to get to, I didn't look at a guide. I wanted to work this out for myself. I wanted to be Georgie Big Brain. Probably shouldn't have done this, but this is what I did. Left and right on the D-pad, by accident, actually allocates the weapon to your hand. Oh, right. Okay, there we go. Then I went in, slapped him up, got rid of him, walked on, started using the gun like a gun. Now, this is something I discovered a little bit later on. It's not a gun. Game doesn't tell you this. In the first boss, I accidentally pulled it, and I'll do the noise. Boom. You know, hang on, I took loads of energy. What happened there? I parried the guy. And I have to say, compared to Jedi Fallen Order, the parry window is huge.
Yeah, it is. It's nice.
It's not ridiculous. I found the parry window on Jedi Fallen Order to be like a slice of razor thin ham.
That game wasn't easy.
It was not.
I mean, in normal difficulty, it was a challenge.
It is a challenge. Absolutely. But that gave me the bigger boy props to come down to yarn and get a little bit of the old blood in you. A bit like that. I love all that. Oh, Hunter. It's.
How do you pronounce the creature this game is based off of? You know, like the whole, what's his name? Lovecraft.
Oh, I don't know.
How do you guys pronounce that?
Lovecraft.
No. His creature, it's, I have to Google it.
Quickly Google it while I continue my journey. So after a while, when I first started playing it as well, I kept doing the first area over and over again, and suddenly started to notice that the enemies weren't dying after 3 hits. All the way up until that point, it was 3 hits to take an enemy down. Then it started taking 6. And I was like, oh no, what have I done wrong? Then I went back to the Hunter's Dream, and just very quickly in the bottom left-hand corner, it said, weapon broken. I was like, weapons can break? So then I was running around there to try and find found the thing, and because I died, I didn't have any souls or whatever they're called, blood echoes they're called in this one. I didn't have any blood echoes, so I couldn't repair my weapon. So then I had to go back to the feel-good enemies, doing like 1 or 3 at a time without wanting to risk any more to come back to get enough blood echoes to fix my weapon. Fix the weapon. Suddenly thought to myself, I can do this. So I got this run going where I was able to do that first bit, and then you go back and drop down, take a guy from behind, tempt a few guys up the stairs, boosh, doon, boosh, doon, boosh, doon. And I eventually cleared all that area round. There's a guy banging on the door, took him down, up the steps. And the game, first of all, it's quite dark and foreboding. So you do want to roll back. You want to roll backwards. You're like, oh, no, I need to, no. On one rage-soaked journey, I realized roll forward, always hit. Give them nothing. Give them nothing. Only roll back if you mess up the timing of the parry. Then you can roll. To be honest, if you get caught even by a low-level enemy, he's going to slice and dice you. The crows are particularly fearsome, by the way. The little fat crows that get up. If more than one of them gets off the ground,
run away. It's ridiculous.
The same with there's 2 dogs on the bridge on the way to the Claret Beast.
Also very annoying.
When they're in a tight, confined area, they're deadly. If you can get them in a more open area, you can get behind them and slice them up. Anyway, Claret Beast took me a few goes, I have to admit. But then that's when I worked out the parry. From there, further into the game. So leveling up, I know. The weapons I know. Some of the items in your inventory I don't know. Now, I've hit a brick wall, friend. I've hit a brick wall called the Blood-Soaked Beast. I think I'm way over level for it, but I just can't get the rhythm going on him. And what annoys me is I can really drill him down to the lowest levels of health, but he poisons you. He poisons you with rapid and slow poison, and you're taking the antidote, and then you've got to, I call it Stim BD.
Yeah. I like it. That's good.
Stim BD. You know, I'm jabbing myself left and Chelsea, and I've got blood vials coming out of my ear holes. I've also got the bullets coming out of my ear holes because of the runs I was doing through the first bit. As I said to you off air, for fun now, I go from the sickbed all the way through to the Blood-Soaked Beast just for fun.
Yeah.
And once you get some levels and once you get some experience, the game, I want to say it's not challenging because if you get caught out, you get hammered, right? But I've hit this brick wall with this boss where the thing that restricts me is the antidotes. I don't want to use all my antidotes. If you don't have any antidotes left, you can't buy them in the shop. And I always want to have the chance to buy more antidotes so I can go back in and fight him again. I've also took Alfred the Hunter in with me a few times. I'm playing offline, so you can ring him. He's a great distraction. I've also tried these. I've picked up a few of these. They're called pungent blood cocktails that you kind of throw them in one area and it attracts the beast so you can whelp on the back of it. I've even tried that. To be honest with you, it's not happening. The first few times I tried to work out what to use the fire paper on, I wasted it. Not found it since. Can't buy it in the shop. I'm going to get there. So before we hear your thoughts on From Software, we've got some message in from our dear listeners. The Gaming Grams got in touch, Bobby. He says, the only From Software game I've played was Demon's Souls back in 2010 when it came out on PS3. My friend spoke very highly of the game and then it'll get me to buy it too. I didn't get very far with it as I found it to be too difficult. I'm not one for games that are hard for the sake of being hard. And back in 2010, that's exactly what I thought Demon's Souls was. I've never touched any of the Dark Souls games, but now that I have a PS5, I'm eager to get my hands on the new Demon's Souls to see if my gaming skills have improved at all since 12 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby, but I don't feel like anyone's inferior. Like the more that you know about the games, I should imagine. I'm not an expert. I've played probably the most accessible one in Bloodborne. Very rewarding of aggressive play. But I think the first few times you play and you learn the enemy patterns, because it's like a NES game, they come the same way from the same places in exactly the same time. I've had a few times where I must have started an enemy animation off by being in the same area of them, and then they've walked to a different area, or I've done things in reverse and stumbled across enemies out of order of where they would be if you went the clockwise way.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're there and they're begging you to slice them up.
Yeah, they're always in the same.
one thing I've noticed about Bloodborne is if you do a few hits before you get to the enemy, 1 or 2, you're into an animation flow that they cannot block.
Yeah.
So I know the distance now between when I need to start hitting and when the enemy is to absolutely be mid slap when
That's
I
awesome.
get to them. So it's like, yeah, okay. There's a bit in when you get to Old Yarnum where the blood-soaked beast is, you can go left and go over the bridge instead of dropping down. And a werewolf comes over the thing, and it's like 3, 2, 1, slap, and then you make contact. It's like 3 and down. Yeah, guy comes out the fog. 1, 2, 3, slap, he's down. There's another guy going to come out of nowhere up the stairs. Take him down. There's a guy sat near the cathedral door. Take him down while he's sat. Go around the corner and get the granny with the witch thing. You know, the woman with the rags on. You need to, when you get to the level with the bin, you need to start your animation because if they get you poison as well. And I put myself through all of that again in the hope of finding some more antidotes. Not a chance. Not a chance. That guy with the gun, or the Gatling gun.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Sickening.
Ooh. When you first go in that area, you've got no idea what's really going on. Some of the things that he says as well. Maybe when you dream, you should have thought of me. Some of the Yarnum blood in you. Yeah. So I'm thoroughly enjoying the game, and it's deconstructed it. What I want people to take away from this is I don't consider myself to be an absolutely amazing gamer, not by a long chalk, but I decided in an Excel spreadsheet sort of way, I am going to break this and I'm going to Excel spreadsheet the living wits out of this to understand how this game plays. And now I view it very much, it's kind of broken games away because now I see this as its own a game, but I also see all the components that bolt it together. So in a way, it's demystified it. When I first started playing, it was like, oh, the atmosphere's foreboding, and oh god, this guy with a thing, he's taking a couple of hits, and oh, he stabbed me, and oh, run away, it's terrifying. But when you get a little bit more knowledge, you're away. Now, the question I've got for you as a From Software guru is, this knowledge, this understanding, the shortcuts, the meditation zones, the bells, the hunter's dream, the equivalent in Demon Souls and Dark Souls, once you've unlocked the knowledge, are they all just normal games then?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, once you know what to do, but you put on, like for example, Bloodborne is not like Demon Souls or Dark Souls. Bloodborne rewards you for being aggressive, and if you get hit, you hit them back right away. You can get some life back.
You do, yes.
Right? Dark Souls. That's why people get naked and they roll around like idiots because roll, hit. You can't be touched. You're so fast. So really, I think the Dark Soul games, it's about speed, and I've only ever played like as a knight, typical knight, sword, shield type character.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people out there who play like as a sorceress or they use magic and they can just destroy the game because enemies could be weak to fire. I'm old school. I don't really get all that. I just block or parry or dodge, hit, take my time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the bosses, as long as you know what to do, especially if they're big and intimidating, usually just keep hitting their toes. You know, stab, roll, stab. And if you're too slow, take your armor off. Roll around. Speed, I think, is key for the Souls games, in my opinion.
Okay.
Bloodborne, you have to be aggressive.
And this is why Tom, our other co-host, he said to me after watching how I played Jedi Fallen Order, he said to one of his quotes was, well, you're very aggressive.
Yeah, you have to be.
And I think I've followed that
certain
through.
enemies in Dark Souls, Demon Souls, it's better to be aggressive too, especially if you're a little stronger. But some of them, it's just take your time. You know who's going to slam the sword 3 times. Just wait. Hit. Yeah, it might take you 10 minutes. That's how the boss is played. I've seen people take out bosses super fast. They just power up their strength, a couple swings. It's amazing. It's beautiful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically broken the game.
Yeah.
Like the speedrunners, unbelievable. First of all, how'd you roll like that? Oh, I know. You're naked. and you're just rolling down, you know, and then you can catch them off guard because, like you said, they're always there. And at a certain point, if you run past them, they won't follow you.
That's correct.
So once you know where they are and where to go to, you're not going to have 20 enemies behind your back, you know,
Any healing free. Yeah.
Right. So like a lot of people, when they play Souls games for the first time, they have this thing where it's super tough. It's a mind thing. And they play like a regular action RPG game.
Yes.
Don't. When you first play the game, just walk, look around. There's always going to be a stupid enemy behind a building that's going to pop out and hit you.
Yes.
Once you get used to that, though, right, you'll start to understand it, and then you'll really just break them down. And usually, they don't tell you where to go. So there's always like 2-3 areas you can go. If you're going in the wrong area, you know, because you're getting hit one shot, you're dead. Maybe that's not the area for you. Go another direction.
Well, that's what happened when I first played this on PS3. There's no map. There's no real glowing gingerbread.
There's no radar.
Trail.
There's nothing.
And I got sort of trapped in a loop of trying to go through a graveyard because it felt like the right way to go, the progressive way to go. And I'll come back to another point in Bloodborne about this. When I actually realized that I couldn't get through the graveyard, I started to look around a little bit more and then found this other area. I can't remember which one it is. It could have been Dark Souls that took me down. And then the rest of the game opened up and I started playing it normally again. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, right. So it's not obvious, but there are ways you can, as you say. One thing that struck me with Bloodborne is you work to the Cleric Beast, the first boss, and he's on a bridge. And when I finally killed him, I thought, okay, video game logic dictates to me now. I shall continue across this bridge, get to that door, click X, and I'll be into the next area. Nothing. That door is non-interactable. That side door you can't get through. At that moment, I broke down. I was like, hang on a minute. This is like the peak of my gaming prowess right now. And every game I've ever played would have you then move into the next section from the bridge. This game then wants you to go off and start searching other places. And I was at my wit's end. I was like, oh no. Then it happened. I found the little lift, went down in that, and the game opens up again. So, you know, thankfully, you're never too long before finding the next area. You're never too long to... and I think the game,
they're not overly long.
No,
if you once you for example, once you beat the game, and look, you don't have to platinum the game. I'm just saying you beat the game, beat the last boss. You're probably strong enough to go anywhere, and then you realize, oh, this level is not so big.
No,
just
the game's
it just appeared big because it took me 10 hours to get through it because I kept dying. By the enemies, but in reality, oh wow, it's only maybe 20 enemies here.
And that was the thing that blew my mind. It felt like it had taken me ages to get to Father Gascoigne. It was like, oh my goodness gracious me, how am I? But now, as I say, I go back and go through to that point for fun because it's an easy way of getting XP. I'm not ashamed.
People also get intimidated too when they die. They think, oh, I lost X amount of hours. In reality, you really didn't.
No.
Because I know when I play, every time I see a checkpoint, I checkpoint, period. I don't care if I kill 20 people. Oh, bonfire. I've run into bonfires being chased by enemies and they clear out. You just kind of start fresh. All right, you die. At least I'm going to start here. It's very old school.
Yes.
Where, like, just like Nintendo. Listen, you could play Super Mario, be in the 8th level, die. Guess what? Back to level 1. The zone continues.
And it's not called the Dark Souls of platform games, is it?
At least in Demon Souls or Dark Souls or Sekiro, when you die, I go back to the last place I touched. I'm not going back to the beginning of the game. And okay, you lose souls, big deal. You get them again. People freak out about, I lost 20,000 souls. Oh, yeah, calm down. You get them again. Take your time and try to get them. And if you die attempting to collect your souls, then you lose them forever. But not really. Just turn around, go back, kill the people who you killed, then go forward again. Take your time. Well, it's a game about patience, really.
And that's the key, I think. It was learning. A lot of modern video games, they remove the element of patience by giving you a checkpoint every 30 seconds. So then you just have to sort of half glitch that bit and you're on to the next bit, and then do the next bit and then do the next bit. You never really stuck for long. Whereas this, you can. And more to your point about collecting those, now that I've leveled up, I sometimes make mistakes, showboating basically, and I'll get owned by somebody. But now I think that's fine. I'll just roll. I didn't realize there was a run button, which is hold down, roll. Now I know. Now I can run, right? It doesn't tell you in the game.
It doesn't tell you anything.
It doesn't tell you.
It doesn't tell you anything.
So hopefully now people have had some insight from me.
Well, listen, if you're playing Jedi Fallen Order, I think people who've played this game, or even if they played Darksiders 3 with Fury, very similar. It's basically Demon Souls. Yeah. Lots of roll on, lots of attacking like that. And I felt in Jedi Fallen Order and Darksiders 3, I find those games will be a little tougher because there's way more enemies coming at you. Like, look how many enemies you could fight in Jedi Fallen Order at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have to learn what stances, I guess.
Yes.
To how you're gonna take an enemy out. There's no stances in Bloodborne. So if you get overwhelmed, you just have to figure it out, right? The point is not to rush into an area and have 20 guys come at you.
Well, that's where I've used
try to bait them.
Pebbles and pistol to bring one out.
Yeah.
Get him back, and then you can do the timing parry, and then and like I say, the timing window. I don't think I barely parried anyone in Jedi Fallen Order. I just couldn't get the timing right. The window for the timing was so small. Their hit was quick, and they're smaller characters and real up close to you. Whereas in Bloodborne, the wind-up animation for them is so big, and you just got to catch them. Boom. And they're down. Good.
And the good part, too, if you're really struggling, you can summon.
I haven't done that. Oh, I've summoned NPCs, but you can summon real person,
a real player. I never summon a real player. I just sent some NPCs if I could find them. Certain enemies, if you do certain story requirements, you can summon an NPC. If you achieved his goal, he'll be there waiting for the boss for you.
That's cool.
Like, you can summon Father, whatever his name is,
Gascoigne,
to fight the beast.
Can you?
Yeah, and you can summon the hunter.
I couldn't find the summon for Father Gascoigne, but
he's not near. He's a little bit away from it, but he's there.
For the boss?
And he's so aggressive that basically the boss just ignores you because Father Gascoigne is just a savage. And they can just throw Molotov cocktails at him.
Oh.
He's weak to fire.
Are you telling me that there's a bell to ring to bring Father Gascoigne into the blood-soaked beast fight?
Yeah. And then fire Molotov cocktails. He doesn't. Okay. He's weak to fire.
The blood-soaked beast is weak to fire.
Yeah.
Okay. He's going down. Someone else has messaged in, Retro Gamer Thomas. I've never played any Souls games, he said, but I've always been tempted. They seem to have a great level of difficulty around them, but I would imagine an awesome level of achievement when you do eventually master and complete the game. I do own Bloodborne, but I've been a bit intimidated about trying it. But with you guys doing an episode on it, maybe this will be the push I need to give it a go. Great idea for an episode, guys. Could be a good idea for a community playthrough, especially with some of the guys have already mastered with all the achievements and trophies and could guide and advise. Absolutely belting idea. Fisher Price, My First Bloodborne. Sign up, finish Jedi Fallen Order, and then rock into Bloodborne. Question. After Bloodborne, what would be the next logical step? Sekiro?
Yeah.
Is it aggressive like Bloodborne?
Way more aggressive.
More aggressive than...
If you don't know how to parry, then you're not going to go anywhere in this game.
How is the timing
Basically, it's extremely
Sekiro?
Tight.
What, tighter than Bloodborne?
Way tighter than Bloodborne.
Tighter than Fallen Order?
Yes. Yeah.
Tight as Ghost of Tsushima?
Way tighter than that. Ghost of Tsushima is very slow paced. Sekiro is massive. Sekiro is honestly middle of Sekiro journey. I sat down and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this because I've played so many Dark Souls, Demon Souls games. It's all about the roll. It's all about the back step, go behind the back and stab them, or backstabbing. Bloodborne, if you're aggressive, you kind of get a little bit of health back. Sekiro doesn't care about how aggressive you are. You being aggressive in Sekiro will be a mistake. You have to learn how to parry. Once you learn how to parry, you could destroy any enemy, including bosses, can be parried at the right moment. Doesn't matter. Just parry, stab, parry. Yeah, you have to dodge and stuff, but parrying is key. It's very parry. They should have called the game parry. Bloodborne, you could roll, slow paced, right? The problem, I think, a lot of people too, the community, Dark Souls community, there's two versions. There's the I'll help you, I'll guide you, and then there's the get good. So basically, if you need help, they'll be like, "This game's not for you. Maybe play something else." No, I mean, you could try it. You don't. You know what I mean?
The game.
Just don't be like that. Help somebody out if you can. You know, I've helped people if they're within my level of souls. I'll help you. I don't care.
I hope this shows can help people decide that they can brush these off, because I've always looked and thought I haven't got the time. I don't think I'm really good enough.
They're not really long though.
But then
they're not long games. No. What takes long is the dying and repeating.
That's one thing I'm grateful for playing on the PS5 is the fact that it's quicker to. I thought when I went to the Hunter's Dream the other day, I thought, oh my goodness, imagine this on the PS4. It's been painful.
And don't get me wrong, too. There is optional bosses. You don't have to fight them. You know, no one said you have to get the platinum for the game. If you beat any Dark Souls game, first time, if you're like did you platinum the game? No, but I beat the game. That's good enough for me.
That would be good enough for me. That would be a medal I would quite proudly wear on my chest.
It's an amazing achievement. And then basically when you play other games, you'll learn from your patience to tackle other games. It's really an old school style of gaming, where now you play Uncharted, you play Tomb Raider or anything else, you die, you go back a few seconds, try again.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what the problem is. Like, no, this style of game is old school, right? But I don't feel there's any cheap deaths. I don't feel there's anything that cheats you.
No,
well, there isn't. And I think it's Dark Souls, the first game. I kind of got mad because that dragon just burned me to a crisp. I didn't know. But everyone dies there. It's like, haha, it's like a joke moment.
Yeah.
There's this huge bridge, a bunch of dead people, and you just run across it like with your little sword and shield, and then a dragon just burns you to death. I'm like, oh, well, I guess we don't go that way. It took so long to get there. You're like, oh, well, that's everything I lost. It's kind of like, I don't think there's any cheapness in this game. That's what I like about it. As you get better, you can keep continuing to move forward.
Well, that's the other thing I've noticed. As you level up, and you can then level up your weapons as well by locking in Bloodborne. You can lock the bloodstones into them and the shards and all that sort of jazz. It really starts to become so manageable. It's what's gone from terrifying in the first area. Once you break it down to the gamey game, it's fun. It's literally hilarious.
Yeah.
Someone who must know I've got a sore throat. Apologies, listeners, if you can hear that. But C. Pliskin's written War and Peace again. He says, hey, been looking forward to promoting my unique, sexy British accent on air, as well as getting to hear George's audible groan, realising who's going to bleed in the cause of losing his voice many years down the line. Is it working? Yes. Absolutely it is. Personally, I really don't get Soulsborne style, as while I obviously like a challenge when it comes to my games, I don't want one so much that I'm essentially dying and respawning to a skeleton warrior number 42 in a tight and dark corridor. Because of that, while I do own the original Dark Souls on Switch, I haven't gotten past the main area of the game after I hastily purchased it one Halloween night. That said, one game I like in the same vein that rhymes as that series is Jedi Star Wars Fallen Order, which I think is a particular game is very forgiving when compared to its most immediate inspiration. There's a couple of things that kept me glued to it, aside from the fact that it was my post-Christmas Day hobby, in between stuffing Lindor down my turkey-filled mouth and oh boy, what a game. Again, still not into the games that are usually designed to be tough, but I really liked how the story was positioned as being one of the first titles set during the long decade between the prequel and original trilogy. My God. Since the former was the era that I grew up with, and barring a couple of incidents like the Black Toad Underground that almost everyone tries to best their first time, if you're lying, you didn't die at least once. I died many times. Or the massive enemy gauntlet near the final stretch of the game. Yeah, that. Thing is, though, it's quite friendly with the saves. Like, if you die outside of a boss area, you literally just walk back to it. In Bloodborne, you still, from what I understand, the Souls games, there's an element of risk because you still got to fight a couple of enemies or roll like a crazy man to get back to the boss with maximum stuff intact. I'm not convinced to really give the whole subgenre a proper skim through, especially with now working on my second novel draft just this week. My blog via the link, cpliskin.medium.com. Got to get it in there, as well as returning to host my radio show. Got to get it in there. Sell out, I know. Absolutely, C. Pliskin, you absolute scoundrel. But you're Irish, so you got to give it a go. I still enjoyed my time with it, and the news of an official sequel in the works announced last month and various implications made near the end of the first game. I think I have reason to look forward to whatever Respawn Entertainment have in the works. Absolutely. I think that sequel could be great, as long as they don't do a Star Wars Force Unleashed 2, as long as it's more of the same within that world, within that boundary of rules of set. I think that could be great.
Yeah.
So there's someone who's probably done what I did, probably not understood it, died and thought that must be because I'm terrible. No, you're meant to die. That's how you work out how to play the game. Ginger's games,
if you keep dying, then you are doing something wrong.
yeah.
You need to change. You need to change your strategy. It's clearly not working. That's the point, right? I mean, if everybody could be just killed the same way, then what's the point of the game?
Yeah. And I think the fun part is once you know their patterns or you know where they are, I think primarily if you know where they are, you can prepare. You can take, okay, I've done those guys. I can take a breath. I can think. I can heal.
Yeah.
I can have a think, do I want to go further now and trade in the XP in case, or do I want to go back and cash it in for some...
it just depends on your style. That's what that's all it is. And you can play this game many ways. You don't have to just play it one way.
Well,
I mean, Jedi Fallen Order, you kind of have to play that way. That's the character.
Yeah.
But it works. His style of play works with how the game is designed. Because my stepfather actually got me involved in Demon Souls, Dark Souls. He played it. He was enjoying it. I never even heard of the game. So I bought it. We played it a little bit together. We never summoned each other because he was too ahead of me. But then I went back to Demon Souls. So the Dark Souls is pretty much the same style. If you want to platinum Demon Souls, you have to work with the light, dark tendency of the world. A little bit more confusing. Like you could stay dead in Dark Souls, I think, the whole time. You don't ever have to be a human, really, but unless maybe do certain things.
Yes, that's something. That's another level of it, isn't it? That you have to work with.
Sometimes in Demon Souls, you have to stay alive as a human to keep the world light, to do certain requirements. So it's almost easier to try to, easier said than done, really. It's almost easier to stay alive as long as you can and not die, because it's easier to kill yourself. You could jump off a roof and kill yourself to bring the world tendency dark to get certain things. It's harder to make it light. So I remember when I got the platinum for Demon Souls, I was very excited, and I was on the PlayStation Trophies. It was originally called PlayStation3Trophies.com. I think it's PlayStationTrophies.com. I'm still on there, but not as much. I remember helping a lot of people playing Demon Souls. Someone's wanting to trade. So, there's a ring you have to get. It's a lot of steps to get the ring, but it's a trophy. So I would just, drop the ring. They pick it up. They give me the ring back. One kid never brought the ring back. He just quit the game. Took my ring. Couldn't help nobody no more.
He didn't want you.
No, he just stole my ring
on anyone else's.
He just stole my ring. That was it. Couldn't help nobody. I never got the ring back. Can't have to start a whole new game. That was years ago, though.
That's
sometimes
horrible.
they'd ask you to summon. Oh, can you help me summon? They put their level down, and then if you're within a level, you would try to help them. But what they would do is, when you get a bunch of people to help you, the boss scales. So if you have 4 people, the boss is even tougher and stronger.
Oh, right.
Your whole point, though, if you're the one summoning people, you just have to just stay away. Just run away. Because if you die, we all die. But if one of the people you summon die, you can still continue. So, go to, get a bow and arrow, go in the corner, hide, and shoot with bow and arrow. Let us take care of it. People will get mad if they see you try to fight a boss, because if you die, I don't get the souls either, because we share. I'll get a percentage of the souls.
Mm-hmm.
They can say them with Bloodborne. If you summon people to help you, just don't get in the way, or then you ruin everybody's chance to get something from it.
This to me is like degree level stuff. I'm just basically at sort of high school at the moment.
I'm pretty sure you can still do Bloodborne online. I'm pretty sure people still play the game.
Oh, I guarantee there's poop. All right.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I sort of stumbled across on YouTube. I thought, well, I'm struggling. I'm gonna go to the internet now, just to make sure I'm not doing anything stupidly wrong. And I stumbled for fun across a guy who was just streaming a speed run, and he got to where I got from the start of the game in about 10 minutes.
No, it's amazing.
Threw these pungent blood cocktails in the corner of the room, ate a beast pellet, dropped a fire paper, literally and he was so calm. He was like, okay, fire starts at the third pillar. I'm going to throw a punji now. Boom, beast pellet now. Goes in the corner, wails on it, boom, 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 fire paper, switch weapon, L1, slam, 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 slam. And I just saw the energy go, doop, 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 doop.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, it's a good fight. It's not that great, but there's better in the game. Boom, on to the next thing. And I was like, oh, turn it off because I don't want to see it anymore. Yeah. But oh my God, this thing that's owning me, he's just gone through it. I don't know if he's on New Game Plus on a speedrun or whether it's literally level 0 at this point. And he was only getting the collectibles that he needed to maximize his run.
There's a guy, I think it's just called Cowboy on YouTube. He does all these speed runs and guides that help you, and he kind of breaks it down. But I mean, everything he's done, it feels like just effortless. Like how many runs has he done to perfect this? And it's like you're watching it, you're like, damn. Sometimes I'm like, oh wow, like I beat a boss. I beat him. I'm so happy. Then you go watch this guy's video, and you're like, oh, I never thought about.
But he's obviously just fallen in love with this game.
Yeah.
Like me, but to a very extreme level. He's like Nobel Peace Prize winner. I'm at the chemistry set at school burning myself. But it's very much as though I can see the signs that would take you to that. He's just played this game over and over again. He's fought
those
this
are the kind of people
fun over and over again
that even understand frames per second.
Yes.
Because in Demon Souls 2 or Dark Souls 2, when it was remastered, I think, the game plays faster. So your weapons degrade faster because of the speed of the percentage or what.
Wow.
I didn't understand all that. I still don't to this day, but it makes sense. Those are the kind of people that can just game's over.
Wow.
They get it.
Well, Ginger's Game Room's been in touch. He says, I'm playing Dark Souls 3 and kept dying. Cried a bit, died some more, cried up and gave up. My adopted son, he's took me to the edge. I haven't cried yet. Batmore's also been in touch. Batmore says the Soulsborne games are, in my opinion, some of the most rewarding games out there. I can sort of get where you're coming from now. The sense of accomplishment after getting good, as he calls it, which we've already made reference to, and beating a boss or area of the game you've been stuck at for ages, unlike any other I've experienced in gaming. The worlds are really interesting, even though that resides in them. There's usually something quite grotesque, and the gameplay just feels really satisfying. The bosses are what these games are really all about, and whilst some can be a bit of a joke, they're almost usually all quite memorable, and some can almost be impossible to beat. Never have I had to attempt a boss battle so many times as in Soulsborne games. Playing them in co-op with your mates is also really fun. I played through and got 100% on all 3 Souls games, and Bloodborne with Comic Pictures 79, aka the show's own resident artist. Look him up on Etsy. Really looking forward to continuing adventures with Elden Ring. And before we discuss Elden Ring, we've got Boble over. He says, yeah, years ago, I won a copy of Dark Souls 2 through a Twitter competition run by Capcom. I remember loading up and dying within about 4.3 seconds. I stuck with it for all of 2 hours, just couldn't get into the groove. Souls games will always be a series I wish I enjoyed, maybe one day. So to really sum all that up, Bobby, I think before we discuss Elden Ring, I would like to say thank you for being a spirit guide for the community on these Souls games. But more importantly, if you're listening and you're like, oh, well, I don't know, we've given you the threads. Jedi Fallen Order. That explains the idea, but in a friendly, Star Wars, safe PG environment. Okay. Then, depending on your play style, if you're aggressive like me and just can't help hammering that button, maybe Bloodborne's a good start. If not, break it down, slow it down, do the roll technique and start the Demon or Dark Souls.
Also, just, you can be invaded by other players as well. They'll invade and they'll kill you. Just play offline or just stay dead. That'll help immensely.
Okay. Well,
I've been invaded a few times. I didn't understand. I didn't get it at first.
Yeah.
And this guy's killing enemies. Oh, he's going to help me. And then we go into the boss battle together. and then he hit me, and he's trying to kill me. He thought it was hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah, I was invaded. Yeah, that they do all the time. There's a trophy where you have to kill people for a trophy. I forgot which Dark Souls game, but I'm not the best one-on-one. So I know there's a bell you have to collect on top of a tower. And I did a really bad thing. I just stood there, waited. As soon as you got to the top of the ladder, I kicked you off. Killed a lot of people like that, but I had to do it. As soon as I got the trophy, I stopped and I felt bad. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, though, you know?
Talking of that, I did actually stumble across an article where in one of the games you fight a gold monk or something like that. Have you ever heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
The enemy you fight, if it all works up and lines properly and you're playing online, looks like an enemy from the game, but it's actually someone else who's been summoned in and they fight you and they think you're the boss. So basically you're in a PvP environment. You don't know, but you're fighting someone that's probably got good and you're probably on the verge of getting good. And therefore it's hard because you don't always then fight. The boss normally has patterns and routines.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy's not going to because it's a human. They're just going to be rolling and slapping and parrying and die. What's this guy doing?
And let me tell you something. He's just as nervous as you are.
Okay.
Right? He has to complete it. So do you. It's very nerve-wracking. I feel like it's very hard when someone is so aggressive and outright just kills you. Because it's like, they don't know what you have.
No.
Like, I remember I summoned someone to help me with a boss battle. He was naked, just had lightning, like he was Zeus. The player who invaded me didn't know. And he ran at me with his big shield and sword. And the guy just threw a lightning bolt. I mean, dead. I don't know what kind of damage this lightning bolt had, but we killed the boss seconds.
Wow.
I actually PSN, like this year, I PSN. I thank you so much. I appreciate it. Because if you need me, you know where to find me. I'm like, this guy's a god.
Like
this guy's a god. It was amazing,
world.
bro.
He just, if you need me, you know where
to find me.
Wow.
Yeah, he was huge. Yeah, he was huge. And he always had a summon. He would always put it in the same spot. People knew he was like a legend. Just a naked dude with his fireball with a lightning bolt. It's hilarious.
Some sort of 52-year-old accountant from Boston, Lincolnshire.
If you watch some of the YouTube videos, like people don't even care about the armor. Like in Dark Souls games, the armor can help you. Obviously, health, whatever. I think in Bloodborne, I think the armor doesn't even help you that much. It's more like about what you want to look like, really. It's more fashion.
If you go into the stats, it absolutely is the fashion. If you go into the stats,
it's very little, right?
Yeah, it's very little.
Doesn't really do anything.
Because I sort of went ham-fisted through the creative character section, Mr. Default, you might as well call me.
Mm-hmm.
I make my guy cover my guy's face up all the time because every time he's got it on there, I'm like, oh my god, this looks.
Oh man, I'm happy that the creative character was so in depth. Because sometimes I'll take like a Skyrim. I try to make it look like me, and Oblivion. Listen, Oblivion, you might as well just leave it default and put a mask on because you're just ugly no matter what you do.
Yeah.
There's certain games where you could look like people, like you can make a celebrity. That's how in depth they are. But then if you think about it, I'm only going to see his backside for the rest of the game.
Exactly.
Maybe during a cutscene, and by then I already have a helmet on, so. Doesn't matter.
We're all safe.
Usually the uglier people you summon, they're purple, they're green, they're just weird looking people.
Oh my.
Because they create these weird characters. Those are the people you want helping you for sure. Trust me.
Okay.
You see a guy with a ladle. Watch out. He's the one.
He's your man. So before we dive in, or we get the Ray up the drive, see, because you've come for a very special guest slot. You've been flown over to Ponsonbury Manor here, so we've put you up in the East Wing. Just depends how long Tom's offer. I might come back to New York. I don't know. Hopefully, you've kept the flat warm. Okay. Have you messed with any of my stuff?
Nope, still there.
Or my I Heart New York T-shirt. I mean, you could tell I wasn't a resident because everything I wore was NYC.
Yeah. I mean, I still dust and clean the room. I don't forget about it.
Nice.
It's not my style. Yeah.
So before we launch into the Ray, or he launches into our living room, Elden Ring, you excited for that?
Yeah, super excited for that.
Okay. Do you think that's going to be different again in its style, or is it going to be
totally different?
Stabbing at feet, or is it going to be aggressive slash?
I think if they go with the aggressive route, I think it'll hard to go back to roll, parry, stab.
Mm.
Because I know you have a horse now. Apparently, you could traveling is faster. I think it's a faster paced game. I'm just excited for it.
Okay.
Me and my stepfather are going to get it for sure.
That is exciting. Is it time for me to play that? Not yet. I need to master Bloodborne, but I'm going to master.
I mean, it depends really, because just because you beat Bloodborne doesn't mean you're going to beat Sekiro.
I don't
because
think
you beat Sekiro doesn't mean you're going to beat Demon Souls. You know, it just depends. Depends really. You know, like they don't. No one's. It's not helping you. Bloodborne's not going to help you with Demon Souls. You got to read whatever you learn in Bloodborne. You got to black it out and learn fresh.
But one thing I want the listener to take away: the elements of it are the same, though. The baddie elements are repeated. The patterns are
100%.
The campfire,
and no matter how fast paced it is, it's still all about patience.
Yes.
In Sekiro, yeah, you have to block like a mad person. You're parrying, but you have to have the patience to parry till the enemy stops hitting you for your chance to attack. That's the same thing in Demon Souls.
Oh my!
You have to roll around and roll and avoid until you get your chance to hit them, repeat.
Okay. Well, let's draw a line under that as we make space for him. It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's Boot, what's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefriend All this week. These are the new release highlights for the week February 7th to February 13th, 2022. Listeners, these are out in digital or physical, or will be by the time this podcast is in your feed, but could be. Oh, yes, son. They could be region dependent. Now, I don't know what he's been up to this week. He's got a boot full of strategy guides. I think he's looking to basically type up what we've said on air and release it as a strategy guide around the village.
Mm-hmm. He also spelled strategy wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're going to be able to...
Yeah.
Of course. That's a classic Stingray foible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a few games this week. I think...
I have one, for sure.
You do? Okay.
It's on my wish list.
Okay. Well, I'll start then. This piqued my interest. It's Model Builder on the PC, classic George game, February 8th. Model Builder is a game about building and customizing model vehicles. Assemble, customize, and display your creations. Fill virtual shelves with amazing machines. Whether you're a veteran or a novice, you are bound to have fun.
Oli World?
Yeah.
This is not a new game. I mean, I've heard of this. For PC, PS5.
I think Oli is, but this is like
PS4, Xbox One, Switch, February 8th. Oli World is a bold new skateboarding action platformer that's busting with personality. Flip and flow through vivid and vibrant world of Relandia, meeting colorful characters as you grind, trick, and air your way into discover the mystical skate gods on your quests for Glenarva.
Wow. Don't get caught with Glenarva in your pocket.
Hell no.
Rumbleverse, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, or the Xbox Series of consoles, PS4, Xbox One, February 8th. This city was built to build this city to celebrate the inglorious traditions of melee combat, and you're invited. Create a unique champion, get a shot out of cannon, smash crates to find upgrades, pick a fight and battle to the last. Now, is this one your mummy?
The one coming up now. But you know what we should do? Let's just call it the Xbox. Xbox Series S, Series X. You could play everything on everything, can't you?
For the most part, I believe you can. Yeah,
just the Xbox.
I see what they've done there.
Coming on the X. Ooh. I like it. Not every PS4 game is going to be on PS5.
I type that in. I need to clear my search history down. I don't want to put coming on the X is a little awkward.
I like it, dude. I like it. This is my mommy. Sifu, whatever you pronounce it. PC, PS5, PS4, February 8th. Sifu is a new game from Slow Clap. That's what that says?
I think so.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The independent studio behind Observer, which I never played. A third-person action game featuring intense hand-to-hand combat and put you in control of a young Kung Fu student on a path for revenge. The trailer makes it seem like when you die, you come back to life, but a little older.
That's correct.
That looks amazing. So eventually, I guess you keep dying, you'll just be dead.
But as you get older, you also get more experience. So it's channeling. Again, it's a bit Souls-like, friend. It's about riding the line between being a young whippersnapper and not knowing anything and being damn near dead.
I'm hoping this is good. Looks very interesting.
I think it will be. Unbound's Worlds Apart, PS5, PS4, February 9th, and also on the Xbox coming February the 11th. Thanks to Bobby, he's updated the whole show's vocabulary. Summon portals to overcome vicious beasts, devious puzzles, and fiendish platforming adventures. Pass to the unique powers of each portal to stop the collapse of reality while exploring lush, hand-drawn worlds and unraveling a deep narrative full of mysteries.
Okay. Up next, we have About an Elf for the Switch, February 10th. Join forces with Dam, the magical princess of all elves, and her incorrigible apprentice, Roland the Brave Cat, as they fight to save the universe from the King of Terrors and his army of evil monsters. This is a point-and-click-ish, RPG-ish, visual novel-ish game of Gigantowanson proportions. Do you have what it takes? If so, everything might turn out elf okay.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that deserves best write-up.
For sure.
I'll take the next two because the out there is My Mummy. So Edge of Eternity on the PS5, the Xbox, PS4, February 10th. Wage epic turn-based battles as you follow Darian and Celine on their quest to find a cure to the all-consuming corrosion in this grand tale of hope and sacrifice, created by a small team of passionate JRPG lovers. Out There, Oceans of Time on the PC, February 10th. This is My Mummy, worth checking out if you're a little bit bored of No Man's Sky. Hopefully it will come to other platforms soon. Out There, Oceans of Time is a space exploration game that puts you at the helm of an interstellar mission of discovery spanning a vast and vibrant cosmos.
Then last but not least is Lost Ark for PC, February 11th. Embark on an odyssey for the Lost Ark in a vast, vibrant world. Explore new lands, seek out lost treasures, and test yourself in thrilling action combat in this action-packed, free-to-play RPG. Which means play to win.
Pay to win?
Free-to-play is pay to win.
It sure is. Question. Before we let the Raymeister disappear into whatever you see him as or whatever I see him as, and before I took you up in bed in the 15th century manner, reputedly haunted by a rather beautiful lady who welcomes all guests in a way that whatever way they wish. Okay, that's the beauty of Pontypridd Manor. It has ghosts.
Edge of glory right there.
Okay, that's you've seen Ghostbusters. That's all I'll say. You need to pick a VHS to watch tonight by the fire. What are you going to choose, my friend?
Why don't you go first? Give me a second.
Okay. I'm going to pick Casper, the friendly ghost, then, just to keep you on your toes. I've probably had this before, 130 whatever shows. I don't even know what I've had anymore, but I'm going to pick Casper with Christina Ricci.
You know what I'm going to pick? Because I just seen it even for the first time. Interview with a Vampire. She just saw it.
What a great film.
Really is. A lot of people thought it was like not a real vampire, no enough action. I mean, it wasn't an action movie. They never said it was. It's literally an interview with a vampire.
So good. I think I saw it properly for the first time a year ago and just couldn't get over how amazing it was.
See, I first saw when it came out. I was young. I didn't really get it.
No, I think that's
I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it now.
And that's what happened to me when I actually saw it as, when you're a kid and you watch it on, it's not, what's going on? Like, nah. But now I watched it as an adult with the biting of the young girl.
Yeah.
And then, it was all very dark, really. And by the time it pops out at the end, you're like, yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
So with all that said and done, we're drawing to the end of the show. Ray's gone. There's only one thing left for me to do is to ask you what you're hoping to play.
I want to finish up Death's Door.
Yeah.
Maybe today I'll finish it. Maybe tomorrow, whatever. Continue on Diablo 2 whenever I get a chance. Then I think I might do Demon Souls now.
Yes.
Just because pretty much that or I had a bunch of games for Christmas.
Yeah.
I just want to overbear myself with a long one. So I might pick a shorter game.
Yeah.
Death's Door, and I have I forgot. Digital Monkery recommended it. Tumbleweed Park.
Oh,
Like a
yeah.
point and clicky. Maybe
Yeah.
just change it up. No, so I don't get bored. Something like that. Definitely Sofu when it comes out. I'm buying it. It's on my wish list. Which I
Digital
like
only,
now
but it is
because
getting a physical copy, I believe.
yeah. Well, I mean, if I get it digital, I'm not buying it physical. I'm not gonna buy it twice. But what I like now is the PS app.
Yes.
If you have it now, which finally works, if you have it on your wish list and it goes on sale, it'll actually tell you,
That's cool.
which is amazing because we had missed that feature for a long time. And then that's probably it. Oh, and if TV show recommendation.
Oh, yeah. Go on then.
If you have Netflix, I highly recommend Korean horror, zombie horror. All of Us Are Dead.
You've watched some of these before, haven't you?
I love Korean film. It was kind of scary. It's kind of funny, kind of sad, kind of emotional. It's got everything.
I
cried, bro. I cried.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, people are dying, but you know what? There's still sad moments in there. I recommend it.
Okay.
What are you playing?
Slick. That's why you're the best in the business. You are. What am I hoping to play? Well, I'm going to get straight back on Bully because it's, when a game guess you.
That's what I got to try. See? Just forgot about it.
It's
not even an hour ago we mentioned it. I think I'm going to download Bully.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what price it will be, but I do believe it's got trophies as well, so it's definitely worth a play. Hammer that X, speedrun it, get it done in a day. And then hang up your gaming boots forever because you got repetitive strain injury. Taking a sup out of Assassin's Creed Valhalla Tankard. There's a game that really I just couldn't bond with, by the way.
Let me tell you something. I got the platinum. I
don't know how you had the patience for that.
I just got to get in it. I want a minute. The cup helps. Drinking from the cup helps. Yeah, you feel like a Viking. But I did the DLC for Ireland.
Yeah.
Really just struggling to put back on Paris. And now there's a new DLC that you got to pay for. Something where Ragnarok. I don't even know if I want to even try that. I'm a little burnt out.
I just felt like it was, after all the Assassin's Creed I'd played last year, it was like, yeah, looking forward to Valhalla, and I got in it, the open world, and didn't really feel that Viking-y, couldn't slaughter everyone because you're going to get desynchronized. And just generally, I didn't feel like it was that tight. And I just bimbled from like one experience to the next, feeling very underwhelmed.
Like Origins, I liked it. The story was cool. I thought Bayek was cool. Odyssey, obviously, I loved it. I thought that was amazing. Even some of the side quests were like, some of them were stupid, some of them were funny. But I felt like Valhalla, the side quests, like, do you just tack them on just because you had nothing else to do? Like, was it necessary?
I might be.
I'm kind of getting tired of like 120-hour games, bro.
It was just boring.
Kind of killing me.
Yeah. Okay.
Like The Witcher's long, but the side quests were great.
Well, that's the thing. If there's enough nuance in there to bring it on, like, I don't care if the game's 500 hours long.
Yeah,
if there's not the nuance,
I guess that's true.
Kill it off early.
Don't.
I think Ubisoft are in the trap of like, well, last one was this, and now this one needs to be bigger, and now this one needs to be bigger again. Else they'll say we've gone back and the game's not as big, and then it might not sell as like, forget that. Okay. They could have cut loads of chelp out of that game, and I would have gone through the story and probably finished it, but I just couldn't be bothered.
Assassin's Creed 3, phenomenal.
Best.
Like, what happened? And I never played the originals, right? My first experience was Origins. Then with Odyssey, it came with, I think it was Odyssey, right? Came with Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered.
Mm-hmm.
I played that before Odyssey. I was like, whoa.
I mean,
what happened?
We've bonded like Native American Indians on that. We're blood brothers. We've tied our bleeding arms together 100%. On a bridge. Assassin's Creed 3 for me will always be the high point of the series. I actually thought 4 was a turn down after that. It was like,
really? I never played 4.
I think you'd like Flag, it,
right?
Yeah, everyone raves about it, but to me, it was just again a little bit. I finished it. Don't get me wrong, but it just felt too big, too open, a little bit like Valhalla. It's like, oh, God, just give me a tighter narrative for this. Mm-hmm. It's not as though it's not open world. Assassin's Creed is open world. But sometimes with this, obviously, as the machines have scaled up and the maps have scaled up and the consoles and all that has scaled up, it's like, and got them. I really enjoyed Valhalla when it was in that opening section, where it was just a Viking hometown.
Yeah.
That was great. I maxed that out. I was like, well, hopefully England's going to be just as good as this. And you get to England and it's like, nah. No.
I'm not sure I can't pinpoint it, but I did feel, like you said, I just felt kind of like, all right, another mission, go here, kind of bored, which is weird because I have the season pass. I have the Paris, just stopped.
Well, I guess that draws a rather sad note to this awesome show. It's been great.
Well, you got to pick your TV show. Have you watched anything?
Oh, I've pick a TV show. At the moment, I've been watching the Book of Boba Fett. I can recommend that. And if you've never seen The Mandalorian, I can thoroughly recommend that. I've been enjoying that. And also at night time at the moment, I've been going back through the Clone Wars and Rebels.
So you're really immersing yourself in the Star Wars.
I know. And then Force Unleashed just left me feeling like an all-you-can-eat buffet, except everything was made out of polystyrene. It's a big shame. And that's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time. Look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being given this unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, Bobby.
Peace out, George.